What do you do with small little branch sections like I've got here in my hand? A lot of times if we're cutting up trees or we get some scrap wood from somewhere, we end up with some pieces like this. So what do you do with it? My favorite thing to do with branches like this are to make small lidded boxes. I've had a fair amount of luck selling these boxes, so they're a great little project, and they're very versatile. You can use them in the kitchen, you can store things in them like small jewelry pieces or other little keepsakes. So let's go ahead and get started and make a couple of them out of this branch section here. So I'm going to start just by getting this branch round, and we're going to shoot for about a 3-inch diameter, and we'll see where we end up on this piece. Now that we've got our branch turned into a cylinder, I just want to square off this end down here, and we're going to make a tenon down here at the tailstock end so we can use our chuck to help us hollow. With our tenon on here, we'll get this remounted in the scroll chuck, and we'll be ready to start measuring out and hollowing our boxes. We've got our branch remounted in the chuck jaws, which will help us hollow out the box here in a few minutes. The first thing I want to do is just get the exterior kind of smooth and consistent. I'm looking for a 3-inch diameter, so I've got my calipers set at about that diameter, and then we'll start working, measuring out our boxes and work on hollowing. Okay, I narrowed this end down a little bit too much, but that's okay. We'll still get a good box out of that. So now we're just going to take and flush off this end, kind of get this end flattened out, just like we did before we made our tenon. Okay, this end down here is going to be the top of our lid. So we just want to sand it really quickly while we've got it here, easily accessible. So I'm just hitting it with a 100 grit. Getting that nice and smooth. Jump to 150. Then 220. That'll be good enough. With this surface out here, which will be the top of our lid sanded, we're going to mark the size for our lid. So I'm just going to put a mark here at 3/8 of an inch. We'll connect that all the way around, and then from here we just want to part that off. We're going to part the lid off right here at our line, and I'm going to actually use a saw to do this, which will keep the grain flowing more consistently. If I use a parting tool, my parting tool is about 1/4 of an inch, so I'd lose a fair amount of material parting this off with the parting tool. If you've got a thin parting tool, you could use it as well. It's probably a similar curve to a saw. The first thing I'm going to do is just put a V-notch right here where my lid is, and that'll give me a nice kerf line to follow with my saw. Alright, so I'm just going to cut this off, and we'll be back when this is done. Okay, with the lid parted off, we're just going to measure down about 2 inches. So the nice thing about using a branch like this is I'm going to be able to get multiple boxes out of this piece. So we'll get this box and we'll make 1 or 2 more, which just kind of makes it a fast, easy project, which is fantastic if you're looking to sell these. Get a V-notch here at the bottom. where I want the bottom of my box to be. That way I know where that is. So here I just want to mark get a gauge of the depth. I want to leave about 1/4 inch in the bottom. So I've got a Forstner bit here. We're just going to put a mark back here on the drill bit, and we'll do a quick depth hole for our box. So we've got the lathe slowed down. So we're just going to bring the drill bit up. This is about a 3/4 inch Forstner bit, and we'll just drill this in. With our depth hole drilled, the next thing I like to do is go ahead and start hollowing. Now I always start out with a bowl gouge, and the purpose of this, I'm just going to get this face nice and flat. I will establish the outside wall of the box, and then but I'm going to switch here in a minute to a carbide cutter to do most of the hollowing. But we're going to do just a little bit here with the bowl gouge, and I've got a small bowl gouge in this case. Since I'm going to be making multiple boxes, I've got a lot of leverage out here on this end, so I want to be careful that I don't throw my workpiece out of the chuck jaws. So I've got quite a bit of leverage out here, so I'm just going to take it easy, flatten that off just a little bit, got it nice and smooth, and now we'll just kind of start working. Just a little bit. Now I'm just switching over to a round carbide tool. I need to adjust the tool rest just a little bit. We've got the inside of our box hollowed out, and we'll sand that in just a minute. We'll sand the outside and inside in just a second, but before we do that, I'm going to use this negative rate cutter here on the Easy Wood rougher, and all I'm going to do is kind of smooth out the outside, the exterior of our box, and once we've got that, then we will start sanding. Just like our lid, we'll sand the outside and inside starting at 100 grit, and we'll be through with this in just a flash. Now we're going to create a pivot for the lid to attach to the box. Now I've got a mark here. I've got the grain lined up where I want it, and I've got a mark on both the box and the lid. And now I'm going to use this little aluminum nail. It's going to be my pivot point. So I've got a drill bit. This is about 1/8 of an inch. I've got an 1/8 inch drill bit. And so here we're just going to kick on the drill press and then drill a hole right here in the edge of our box. Right at that point. This would be hard to do with a hand drill. Not saying you couldn't do it, but it would be challenging. We've got our hole in the box. So now we're going to just get a quick measurement with our calipers, so we'll know basically how deep, where to put the hole in the lid so it lines up. That's the edge of the hole. One of the tricks you have to do here a little bit is to get, so we're going to drill this, but we don't want to go all the way through the lid. So we just want to go in just a little bit. That's one reason why I like the 3/8 inch depth for the lid. Gives us enough room for that. So we'll just trim down our nail and we'll be ready to finish our box. With our lid attached and hinged in place, the last thing to do is just put a little finish on it. With these little cedar boxes, I've done several like this. I love the natural look of cedar. So in this case, I just want to use a natural finish. I'm just going to use a little shellac here, kind of on the inside, outside, all over it. If we need more than one coat, we can do more than one coat. I first started making these as kind of a salt cellar. So I like shellac on it for that because it's a nice, easy, food safe finish. It does bring out the natural colors and everything in these projects. And it dries really quickly. So if we want to do multiple coats, you can do it in just a few minutes. And of course, if you're selling a batch of these boxes, a quick, simple finish is always preferable. If you're looking for some other quick and easy projects that are great gifts and great sellers, check out this video here on bottle stoppers, and I'll see you there.